What's up, Falcon fans? This is the recap video where we discuss what the hell just happened to the Atlanta Falcons. If you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button or hurt your boy's feelings. Well, maybe just a little bit. But if you want to do a huge favor for your boy by hitting that subscribe button, it will help out the empire grow. So on that note, let's just dive into the video with the good, the bad, and the Falcons. And let's start out with the good. The run game for the Atlanta Falcons was really put together, I thought. 32 total carries, 181 total rushing yards. Bijan Robinson, got 2 rushing touchdowns. I felt like he could have got a lot more opportunities in that department, but it feels so good for finally him to get multiple rushing touchdowns in a single game. His 116 total rushing yards was excellent with his 20 carries. I wish Tyler Algier got a little bit more, but his limited rushing attempts was still pretty good with 11 carries with 59 total rushing yards. And of course, I thought Kirk Cousins did a really good job, even though he had to force it down the field a lot more. Drake London was excellent. Darnell Mooney was excellent. Kyle Pitts was good. Ray McLeod, good. The whole bunch were pretty good when it comes to the receiving end. Now, I will say the Atlanta Falcons stopping the run was pretty good compared to them giving up over 130 plus rushing yards per game. They only allowed the Saints to get 96 total rushing yards and 0 rushing touchdowns, so that's good in my bookie. So now let's talk about the bad. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Younghoe Koo, our kicker, who had 4 attempts and missed 3, but got 1. Unfortunately, it was not his day. I'm not here to defend him. I'm not here to get angry at him. I just know, well, maybe I am here to defend him a little bit, but look, that the second time, the guy just went up and batted, and then the third time, he, in the fourth quarter, he just shanked it. I thought it was going to get in, and it just doinked, unfortunately. But the first time, it missed, so it just wasn't going well for him, unfortunately, and it was just impossible. But also, if that is the case, I feel like then we should have went for it on 4th down. Twice. If there was a lack of confidence in Younghoe Koo's game, that's when the head coach has to adjust and has to prepare for the team to realize, okay, we need to make sure that he doesn't have to put all the workload for Younghoe Koo's mental stability, right? So that's also, I'll blame the coaching staff on that. I'll also note that their defense, they were getting after the quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was getting mollywopped out there. I mean, 3 sacks by the Saints. It's just crazy. Unfortunately, the Atlanta Falcons just give up at least 2 to 3 sacks per game. I don't like that. What I also don't like that Derek Carr, I think, had a career year or career season with the Saints. I think it was his best game with 269 total passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no sacks that were given upon him. Unacceptable. Our pass rush is still bad. It is beyond bad. It is nuclear, detergent, grossly negligent at this point in time. Then, of course, Marquez Scantley. I didn't even know he was part of the Saints organization. For him to get targeted 3 times and catch all those 3 receptions for a grand total of 109 total receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. By the way, the Atlanta Falcons defense hardly ever gave a big play mobilities. That was their bread and butter this whole season, and we was just getting gashed left and right. It's just crazy. I get it. Look, hear me out, all right? If the Saints were, a good team and we still lost, I said, okay, it is what it is. We lost to a good team. But the fact that we lost to a Saints team that was on a 7-game losing streak is just pathetic. And I am more angry at the culture at this point in time. I don't care about the stats anymore. That doesn't mean anything to me because it is so difficult for us Falcon fans to constantly are getting the upper hand, supposedly, right, in quotations, because remember, last couple weeks ago against the Seattle Seahawks, they were on a 3-game losing streak, regardless how it was, right? We did not take full advantage of their missed opportunities, and again, we gave them a pretty good game, and the final score was 34-14. So again, we allowed them to snap their 3-game losing streak, and for the interim head coach, I just forgot his name all of a sudden. This has been a huge problem with the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, back last season against the Carolina Panthers, where their head coach and Frank Wright won 1-10 record at the time. They only beat Houston Texans. But after that, some point in time, they fired him and they got Chris Tolbert, by the way, who's not even doing anything in the NFL. He was their new intern head coach, and his first game win as an interim head coach was against us in Week 15, where they beat us 9-7, finishing at that time 2-12. At the end of the season, they were 2-15 total. Again, the Atlanta Falcons are constantly blowing games that we should take full advantage, and that's what great teams do. We're not a great team. We're an okay team, but this team is so much better. And yes, I understand that we could have won this game if Koo did not miss those field goals, and I get it. But this goes way beyond Koo. This is just a Falcons culture organization that just doesn't do what they need to do to win games. And I remember last year, right? Remember, the Arizona Cardinals with Kyle Murray. He came back from injury. He hasn't played a single football for almost a year and a half. He came back against us the first time, and he won it for their team. It's just what? And then with the Tennessee Titans, remember when Ryan Tannehill was benched, and they got Will Levis, first time debut as their quarterback, and he won it for them. 4 touchdowns as a true rookie. And then, of course, with the Minnesota Vikings, when they were having quarterback problems, they just literally picked up a quarterback that same week, and he beat us. So there's a huge problem with the Atlanta Falcons not preparing themselves against teams that are having trouble with winning games. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to fix it, because clearly this is not going to stop for the Atlanta Falcons. If I'm not mistaken, I think the last time we swept the New Orleans Saints was back in 2016. Don't quote me on this. But I just wish we could just go back in the good old days when it comes to football terms of Falconism, where we just beat the Saints with hands with ease back in the 80s and 90s and mid-2000s, before Drew Brees ever came into our lives. But unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like it's going to go that way, unfortunately, anytime soon. Like they always say, history will always repeat itself. And I said this in my preview video back in 2012. This was the same scenario with the Falcons and with us. We were, 8-0. We were going to sweep everybody. And then, of course, they had their interim head coach and they beat us. And this kind of reminds me of back in 2022, the first week against the New Orleans Saints. We were up, like 24 or something like that, and then they only had 10 points, but then the fourth quarter we allowed them to get 17 points off the board to them beating us 27-26. It's just like we just can't catch a break in beating these guys. I just hate them with a passion of burning love. And it just sucks. This is definitely going to sting for a long time, unfortunately. And it's just going to be very hard for me to get this bad taste out of my mouth. And of course, we're going to face Sean Payton next week. So I don't know how that's going to work out for us. But hopefully, a better outcome than this. If you guys lasted this long to the very end of the episode, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch these Falcon content videos. Here's more on the screen if you're interested. So what do Falcons do? Well, supposedly rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.